Hello folks, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will be talking about locator strategy in Selenium WebDriver, and we'll be covering different types of locators in Selenium, and we'll also demonstrate how to use these locators in the test scripts using Selenium WebDriver with Java. Locators play an important role in the automation test. They provide a path to access elements that are essential to automate specific actions like click, type, tick checkboxes, select values from drop-down boxes, etc. When writing automated tests with Selenium WebDriver or any of the automation tool, the first step is to locate the web elements. These locators are like the building block of a test script that helps the testers interact with the elements in the document object model. Now let's understand what are locators. The primary usage of a locator is to locate a web element on the web page. The locator can then be used in Selenium WebDriver test scripts to interact with the web element and to perform different actions such as clicking on a respective text box or a link or any of the field in the web page, entering the keys, opening a drop down, ticking a checkbox, etc. Locators are an essential part of the test scripts without which the automated testing cannot perform the desired output. If the right locators are not used, it may result in failures and flaky test. Now, with this, I think you might have understood the importance of locators. Now, let's understand what are the different types of locator strategies that are used in Selenium WebDriver. So there are 8 different types of locator strategies in Selenium WebDriver. First one, the most important and the fastest one that is being used is ID. Then follows name, tag name, class name, link text, partial link text, CSS selectors, and XPath. So these are the 8 different types of locator strategies in Selenium WebDriver. Now, before we begin to deep dive and understand and get a detailed insight of all of these related locator strategies, let's first understand how to locate web elements in the DOM using a browser. The first and the most important thing is to know the usage of developer tools window in the browser. So I'll be using the Chrome browser, and this is the demo website that I'll be using for testing in almost all of the scenarios while performing while locating the elements on the web page using the different locator strategies in Selenium. So this is the internet, the-internet.herokuapp.com. This is the website, demo website that we will be using to perform the uh, demonstration of the different locating the web elements of the using different locator strategies in Selenium. Now, to open the developer tools window, there are 2 different ways. First is using these 3 dots here at the on the extreme right of this browser. Just go to more tools and then click on developer tools. You'll see a window coming up at the bottom of the screen like this. Now this window can be docked using the different options that are available. So most preferably, I use it by placing this window at the bottom by selecting this. Otherwise, it can also be docked on the right hand side by clicking the respective option, and it can also be clicked on the left hand side as well. But I'll prefer to use this window at the bottom, so I'll place it at the bottom here. Now first of all, let's locate this login page text here. How do we do that? So we need to click on this button here, select an element in the page to inspect, and then we'll select the respective text or whatever field we want to locate. Then you can see it has taken us to this particular element here, which has a tag name as h2. So probably using the tag name h2, we can locate this text login page. And we can verify this by just pressing Control F, or if you are on Mac, you can use Command F, and then you can see this search window opening at the bottom. Just type h2 here, and you can see this h2 tag name actually locates this login page text. Similarly, if you want to locate the username field, we can just click on this inspect element icon here, and after that take the cursor to the respective field which you want to locate. So I'll take it to the username field, and you can see here there's an input tag which has an attribute type equal to text, name attribute, ID attribute. So ideally you can make use of ID, name, or CSS selector, XPath, as well as the tag name if you want to locate the element. Now If I just put in the value as input, it will locate all the fields that has a tag name input here. So ideally, if I want to use username, uh, if I want to locate the username field, the only adding a input tag won't help. I will have to use some other attribute as well with the tag name. So ideally, the most easiest way to do is using the ID locator. So ID locator hash, this is the actually short form used for locating the ID locator, and see we can see the attribute ID has a value username. So I'll just type in the value username, and by this entering the value username here, we can easily locate the username field. Similarly, to locate the password, I'll just update this username to password, and we can see it locates the password field. Now this was the first way. To open the developer tools window, we also have a shortcut. We can just press F12 key on the keyboard, and you can see it, the developer tools window appearing on the screen right away. Now this is how we can easily open the developers tools window and easily locate the web elements that we want to. Other thing is, if you're working with CSS selectors, this properties tab, if this particular tab is not available, you can just click on these two arrows here, and then select the respective properties window. I've already selected it, and I selected it, hence I can see it in the tab here. And you can see different attributes that are related to CSS, or maybe the web element is displayed here. So if you want, you can just check out. For example, let's take a web element, select it as login page. You can see attribute inner HTML, inner text, both refers to login page text. Similarly, outer text also has the value login page. So all of these attributes, using .get attribute method in Selenium, you can locate this respective text. Ideally, the best way is to use get text, but in case if this value is not, if you're not able to locate the element, you can make use of any of these properties, CSS properties here, and ideally locate the text or button or whatever value. If you want to get the text of that element, you can just ideally use these respective properties and get the value, whatever value that you want to, using this attribute. So this text content also has the value as login page, and similarly that can be used. Next, let's move on to the ID locator strategy. Now, this ID locator strategy, it actually helps to identify the web element using the ID attribute. And to locate the element using ID, we can easily make use of the ID attribute and then locate the element. Let's move on to the demonstration part now. But before we move on to that part, let me show you the field that you will be using for demonstrating this particular ID locator strategy. So we will be making use of this internet Heroku app and the login page. So ideally, if you want to go from the main page of this uh, internet website, ideally form authentication is the correct menu here. You just click on this form authentication and you will be taken to this login page here. Now we will be locating the username field by using the ID locator. So as I said, we can open the developer tools window and locate this element. We have this ID attribute here, and just to verify that we are using the correct ID, we'll just put in the tag hash and then type the ID attribute value here, which is username. So before I begin demonstrating the test scripts and writing the test scripts and running the test scripts, I'll just give you a brief overview around the project. This project is available on GitHub and under the name Selenium Demo. I'll be sharing on the links to this GitHub repository in the description of this video. So do check that out as well. Before we move on to the test scripts, let me give you a brief overview around the dependencies that you are using. So I have put in the Selenium Java dependencies, the latest dependency that is 4.20.0, and I'm using TestNG version 7.10.2. So both of these dependencies are updated in the pom.xml, and I have updated the dependencies as well. And I have created a new test class, that is Selenium Locator demo test. which I have provided the WebDriver driver. And this instantiation of this WebDriver is done inside the setup method, which has a before test. So whatever is written inside the setup method will run before any of the test is run. And also it will instantiate the Chrome driver, and it will also add up the implicit wait of 20 seconds. This is just done to make sure that the website loads completely before any of the action or interaction with the web elements is performed. And then using the after test, the driver will quit. The next part is, let's move on to the first test that we will be using. Now you can see there is a thread.sleep statement here. This is just to make sure that we are just to demonstrate and make you aware that whatever test ID or whatever locator strategy that we are using is working correctly. And that is the reason why this thread.sleep is used. Otherwise, this thread.sleep is not recommended to be used in the automation script here, in any of the automation script that you use. So ideally, like I said, I'll be making use of the ID locator for the value is username for locating this username field. So first statement ideally refers to the navigation part where this driver.get, this statement will actually navigate the user to the uh, Heroku login app, this particular link. After that, it will locate the email field using the ID username, and then it will send the key. So it will type the values faisal@demo.com, and then it will wait for 2 seconds after it finishes the test. So let me quickly run this test for you and see how ID locator will actually perform in action. So the test is running. You can see the setup method being called upon. And you can see that it located the username text and then finally sent the value faisal@demo.com. So this is how the ID locator can be used in the test. Now let's move to the next part and check out for the name locator strategy. Now this strategy identifies the web element using its name attribute. Let me quickly move to the same website that we were checking out for the ID locator. And you can see the same username field can be located using the name, that is username. It has a name attribute as well. Similarly, if we can check out for the next field called password, we can see that the name locator strategy can also be used here. It has an attribute called password here. Similarly, if you check out for any other page, for example, let's check out this forgot password. And you can see there's a field called email here. Let's try to locate this and see if we have, okay, we can see that we have a name attribute here as well. And the name of this attribute, the value is email here. Now let me quickly move to the code and demo the working of the name locator. All of the code remains the same here. Like we will be navigating to this login page and using the name locator. You can check out this part has been changed here by name, username. And as you see, let me move back to the same window again, login page. We can see the username field has a name attribute called username, and we'll be using the same here to locate the field and pass on the values faisal@demo.com. And using thread.sleep, we'll just wait for 2 seconds to see that the field has been located successfully and the values have been entered there. So let's run this test now. And you can see the username field was located and the values were typed in successfully. So the next strategy is TagName. We can make use of TagName to locate the desired web element. Let me show you how. So we'll be making use of this website, the internet-herokuapp.com. Previously, we were using the form authentication window to locate the username and the password fields using ID and name locators. Now let's make use of this home page itself to locate the different links using the tag name. Now, when we just select any one of this link here, we can see the DOM has different uh, tags here like UI, UL, LI, and finally there is an A tag which refers to the links on this page. Now, To locate the element with the tag name, we can just type in the tag name here. And you can see all the elements that has the tag name A, they can be located one by one using that tag name. And you can see that there are 101 elements with the tag name A here. So if I give the, in the Selenium, if I make use of this tag name A, initially the first element with the tag name A will be located, which is ideally A/B testing. So the element with A/B testing will be located first. And if I give the driver.find elements, if I use the method driver.find elements for locating all the elements with tag name A, so it will eventually retrieve a list of 101 elements on the page. In this demo, I'll just show you how to do this. I'll make use of find elements as well as find elements by making use of the tag name locator. And then we can ideally locate the different web elements using the tag name. So here, if I open a link with the name drag and drop, okay. After that, you can see if I want to locate this drag and drop title that is displayed on the page, I can make use of this tag name h3. So this h3 will eventually return the text drag and drop that can be studied here in this properties table. Inner HTML, inner text both refers to the same text drag and drop. So eventually when I give this driver.find element by tag name, it should return the value drag and drop here. So this will be the first thing. Initially by using driver.find element with tag name, I'll be locating the page title. So the scenario is pretty simple. Like it will navigate to the home page of the internet.herokuapp.com, and then it will click on the link, drag and drop using partial link text, and then after that it will locate the title using the tag name h3, and finally the title drag and drop will be printed on the console. Next, there is another thing, like I mentioned, like we can also make use of find elements method in Selenium to locate all the elements with tag name. So ideally, if I want to locate all the links on this home page, so there are like around 100 plus links that are available on the homepage of this internet website. Uh, to locate all the web elements, what I can do is I can make use of driver.find elements. Now this find elements eventually returns a list of web elements. So that is the reason why I've used this list method from Java here, and it will return all the elements with tag name A. And then by after running a loop, so this loop will run till all the web elements with tag name A. So it is the maximum size. So if there are 101 links that are available with tag name A, or this for loop will run for 101 times, and it will eventually start printing every single link, every single element with the tab name A. So this page name, page links, it will return this particular variable will return a object will return a list of all the web elements, and we will get single web element by using the get method, get I, and then returning its text using the get text method. Now let me quickly run this test for you so that you could understand how the values are printed and how tag name actually helps us in locating the web elements using Selenium WebDriver. Now you can see the tests are running. It will eventually load the drag and drop page, and then you can see in the console using the tag name h3 driver page title dot get text, this text drag and drop was printed, and after that all the elements on the home page were fetched using tag name A, and using a for loop all the page links that were displayed on the home page, all the name of the links were printed in the console. As you can see in the console, the values are printed here successfully. So this is how we can make use of tag name locator strategy and use them efficiently in our test. Moving next to the class name locator. This strategy actually uses the class attribute for identifying the object. Now, to demonstrate this feature of using class name locator strategy, let's go back to the internet website, and here we will make use of forgot password menu here, and you can see there are two fields, email and retrieve password. Now for demonstrating this class name locator strategy, we will locate this retrieve password button, and this password button we will make use of this class name to locate this button. And you can see the class name that is displayed in the DOM is radius. So I can make this class name, I can make use of this class name radius and call them in the test script, so that eventually it will find the uh, web element for retrieve button and it will click on it. So you can see it will first navigate to the forgot password link, and it will locate the retrieve password button by using the class name. That the name of the class is radius, as you can see in the DOM here, and then it will click on that button. Since there are no assertions here, it will just click on that button, and we have not mentioned any email also in this field here. So chances are, and also this is a demo website, so chances are it may throw a kind of some weird error. But our main objective is to click on that button, and that objective will be achieved by using the class name. So just ignore the error that we get after clicking on that retrieve button. Our goal is to just click on the retrieve button using the class name. Now let me run this test for you and see how it locates the button using class name. And you can see, like I said, it throws internal server error, but it clicked on that retrieve password button successfully. Now this is how you can make use of class class name to locate web elements. Eventually, you can also make use of like for example, if there is an email field won't have a class name here. But let's move on to some other maybe form authentication, the link which we were using previously. Let's look at the this login button. It also has the same class name called radius. So if we try to locate this login button by giving class name as radius, it will eventually click on this login button. Moving to the next strategy, that is link text. So eventually this will help locating hyperlinks on the web page, and it uses the text in the hyperlinks to locate the web element. Now, if I want to locate, uh, like for example, there are 100 plus links that are displayed on the home page of this Internet Heroku app website. If I want to open any of these links using the name that is displayed in the on the home page here, like for example, broken images, checkboxes, drag and drop down, and so on. So I can make use of this link text to locate these elements and finally click on it. So let me go to the code, and you can see we will find this drag and drop menu by using the link text, and you can see the text as drag and drop that is being displayed here. Drag and drop, this drag and drop text can be used to click on this link, and eventually it will open the drag and drop menu here. So this menu will be opened by clicking on the link by using the link text. So let's run the test quickly and see the output here. You can see it navigates to the Internet Heroku app and then moves to the drag and drop, locates the drag and drop menu by using the link text locator strategy, and finally clicks on it, waits for 2 seconds just to check out that the drag and drop link was clicked successfully. This is just done for our purpose. This thread.sleep is eventually not recommended by to be used in the test. We can make use of different implicit, explicit, or fluent wait that is being provided by Selenium WebDriver to ideally wait for some time till the element is located, or maybe click is performed and other interactions are performed with the web elements. There is another strategy called partial link text. Eventually, it's the same like the link text strategy. The only thing is it will help you locate the web element, using text in the part of the text in the hyperlinks itself. Let's move to the demonstration. But before I move to the code, let me tell you, like we can make use of any. So if there are two different words that are displayed, like for example, context menu, drag and drop, dynamic contents, dynamic controls, dynamic loading, and so on. But there are three different dynamic. So it will if we pass on the value called partial link text for locating any element for with the text as dynamic, it will eventually click on the first, it will eventually locate the first element that it finds and click on it, will click on it, or whatever interaction that you have want to perform, it will perform that interaction. So there are, if there is a multiple hyperlinks available with the same text and you are supplying the values with partial link text, eventually it will click, it will perform the interaction, or it will locate the first element that it finds with the same text. So here we will be finding the value context, and then eventually we will click on it. So this is what the test says here. You can see these 4 lines. It will move to this Internet Heroku app website, and it will locate that context menu using the partial link text. So I'm not supplying the full value like context menu, but I'm just supplying the value called text called context, and it will eventually click on it and then wait for 2 seconds. So let's run this test now. And you can see it clicked on this context menu link, and using thread.sleep, it just waited for 2 seconds before executing the test. And this is how the partial link text locator strategy works. XPath locator strategy. This is one of the most popularly used locator strategy, and many people prefer it. There are multiple tools also available for finding and locating the web elements using XPath. But I would request you to just check out other locator strategies and keep this in the end, because if you can locate the web element using other attributes such as ID, name, class name, tag name, link text, and so on, then you can save your time, because XPath actually takes some more time locating the web elements rather than using ID and name. It takes lesser time as compared to the XPath. And it all depends upon the writing the XPath also, because sometimes what happens is writing the XPath also makes the test flaky. If you're not using the correct XPath wildcards, or the correct strategy for XPath, then it might actually break your test as well. So I would recommend you to check out XPath, but make it at the end. If you're not able to use any other locator strategies with any of the attributes that available in the DOM, then go ahead with using XPath. And this XPath locator strategy ideally uses XPath to locate the web elements. Now let's move on to the demo. In this demo, we will be using simple XPath. We will be making use of another website now, that is Selenium Playground by Lambda Test. We will make use of this Ajax form submit menu that is available here, and we will locate the input name field and the message field. Both of these fields will be located using XPath. Now let's check out in the DOM what all attributes are available which can be made use of, and then ideally we can locate these elements. So ideally you can see there is name also available, ID also available, class name also available. It is suggested and recommended to supply the attributes like ID, name, and the tag name or the class name to locate this web element, because it is easier and cheaper and also saves time. But if you are not able to do that, then you should move ahead with the XPath. Now, how do I locate this element using XPath? It's pretty simple. We'll just put up the double slash here, then the tag name. The tag name that we saw is input, and then we'll make use of this ID attribute. So this ID says ID equal to title. So at the rate ID equal to title. And then you can see it locates the web element efficiently using the XPath. That is what I have written in the test here. It will first navigate to the Ajax form submit demo link here, which will load this page. And then it will locate the name field using the XPath input at the rate ID equal to title. This is the simplest form of XPath that can be used. In XPath, there is an option we can make use of contains keyword, similarly like we do in CSS Selector as well. It is extensively used on web elements whose value changes dynamically. So in case if your field is a kind of dynamic in nature, which changes on every page refresh, then you can make use of this contains keyword and ideally locate your web element. And let's make use of this in the same window. Let's locate the message field, and you can see name equal to description, and ID is also there, a class is also there. Ideally, like I said, we can make use of name and ID attributes to locate the message field. But here, since the demonstration is based on XPath, I'll locate this field using XPath. So this message field, you can see the tag name is text area. So let's write text area, and then we will make use of the contains keyword here. Contains, then bracket open, at the rate. Let's make use of this name attribute. We can see there's a name is mentioned as description. ID is also there as description, but let's make use of name first to locate this field description. And you can see text area contains name description. Similarly, if you want to use ID, you can also make use of ID. It will also locate the same thing. If you want to make use of class, then I feel class is also valid here, and you can make use of the class attribute as well. We can make use of XPath and that contains name as description. And you can see I've used the same XPath here in while locating this web element. When we locate this name field, I'll pass on the value as Faisal. And when I locate this message field, I'll pass on the value. I'll pass on this text. This is a test message, which will make sure that the values are supplied successfully. Let's add some sleep also here of 2 seconds. So eventually we will be able to check out that the values were passed successfully. And also let's add some exception to the method signature, and let's run it now. It says it was not able to locate the element. Okay, I made a mistake here. So the backslash is missing here, which eventually led to that error. Let me rerun this again, and it should be able to locate the element now. And you can see the name is being typed here and the values are being supplied here. So the initial test failed because this double backslash were missing here, because that is needs to be supplied if you are locating the element using XPath. And you can see both of these fields were located. So we covered the simple XPath as well as we covered the contains keyword. Now coming next, there are other values as well. Like we can also make use of and or conditions in the while locating the web elements using XPath. This helps us in efficiently writing a good XPath if there are no unique values available in the DOM to locate that particular web element. So you passing on the and or keywords also helps us locate the web element successfully. So again, we'll make use of this login screen on the internet website, that is the form authentication, and we will be locating the username and the password field here by using the and or keywords. So you can see there is a name attribute with username value, and there is an ID attribute with username value. So using the or attribute, any one of these conditions should be satisfied or true to make it successfully work. So we have supplied the value as ID equal to username. So ID equal to username and or name equal to username. So if any one of these conditions, ID equal to username or name equal to username, is set to true, and the system is able to find the web element, then the requested XPath will locate the web element and will move ahead with the interaction part. But in case of and, it is necessary that both of these attributes that are supplied here should be true. So the ID, if we locate the password field here, you can see the name equal to password and ID equal to password. So both of these things should match. Ideally, if any one of these things does not match, then that particular field will not be located. Let's run this test. So eventually, first the name field, username field will be located because any of one of these conditions are true. Now both of these values are set to the same correct values are being set here. So eventually there should not be any error. And similarly for password field, let's run this positive scenario first, and then we'll just check out by changing the conditions here. So you can see the field was located and the values were supplied in the field successfully. Now let me change this username to just name, and name equal to username. So ideally this is not true now, but this is true. So, and what we'll do is we'll just comment this out because we just want to verify the or condition first. And let's run this now. So you can see the username field was located and the values were supplied. Now again, let's make both of these conditions false. Uh, by that I mean that ID and name, both of these values does not exist. So the ID equal to username and name equal to username, both of these values do not suffice here. And eventually this should fail, as it will not be able to locate because ID and name, both of these values are not matching in the OR condition that we have supplied. As you can see, it is not able to find, hence it's just waiting for some time till the test fails and exits. And you can see that it gave us this error in the console, that no such element exception was thrown, and it was unable to locate the element with method XPath and the selector input ID equal to name or name equal to name. So both of these values were false, and then we knew it would not pass. So it failed. So let's set it back to the correct one now and comment this out. Now we'll play with the end condition. Now here, let me change it to password one. So I'll just change the ID to password one and name equal to password. So this ID equal to password one is a false condition that does not match, because eventually if you see in the DOM, the name is password and ID is also password. So I just applied a wrong value here. Let's remove this thread.sleep for some time, because we don't want our test to exceed by more time here, because we know that the condition will be failing because this end condition does not pass now. Let's run this test and see. And it is expected that this test will fail, stating that the element was not found. And again, we should expect a no such element exception being thrown. As we have supplied implicit wait here, so it will eventually wait for like around 20 seconds. That is the time duration that have been supplied here. And you can see that the no such element exception was thrown, stating that the element was unable to that the element was not found, unable to locate element with XPath selector is input password one and name equal to password. And we just saw that in OR condition, at least one of the condition needs to be set to true. But in case of AND condition, both of these condition needs to be set to true. Then only it will run successfully. Otherwise, it will throw an error. Now let me run it again by making all the condition as it was existing earlier, by making both of these condition to true. So eventually it is expected that this test should pass now. And you can see the values were supplied successfully and the test passed successfully on that. There is another keyword that can be used with XPath, that is starts with. So if you want to select an element that has a keyword that has some text that starts with, for example, uh, let's make use of this Windows keyword, or maybe like you can see uh, there are multiple hrefs here, like upload, challenging demo, challenging DOM, and dynamic content, and so on. But all of these are just one word only, dynamic underscore content. I just want something that starts with like dynamic content, or maybe we can pass on the XPath. Let me take this from the code and then pass on this value that starts with dynamic. Okay, so it has a, and you can see it locates three different web elements because it got three elements, or three links that starts with the name dynamic, with the word dynamic in it. So this way, the starts with keyword can be used to identify web element uh, that starts with a particular text. So in this demo, we will be making use of this uh, Windows. So you can see there is a click here uh, link available, and that is available inside Windows screen. And we will be making use of starts with. So this has slash Windows slash new. This is the href that is being used. So we will make use of this XPath. We will be selecting the tag name that has a in it, and it starts with Windows. So you can see, look, there is just a single web element available here that starts with the word Windows, and we will locate this web element and then click on it. So this is how the starts with will work. Let's run this test now. And you can see it clicked, and we can see the new window text over here. So this is how starts with keyword can be used. Now the next thing that can be used in XPath is the using the text. Now, if you want to locate any element, web element with the value that is been provided in the text, like for example, this broken images, or maybe the context menu that is being displayed here, we can make use of this uh, text keyword that is available in XPath to locate the text. So you can see context menu will be located. Similarly, if I want to locate the web element with broken images, then I can locate it. So it works in the same fashion for locating the web element that has some respective text in it. So even if I want to locate this available example, let's try that now. Available examples. So you can see we can locate easily the text that is available. And if you give like dot get text, then it will eventually bring out this text, and then you can compare it, or maybe use the assertions to perform assertion for with the available text out here. Similarly, if you want to like locate this add and remove element, we can make use of this text method that is available inside the XPath to locate the respective web element. And you can see it located the web element successfully. So in this demo, we will be locating the context menu, this text here, and it will click on it using the XPath. So let's run this test now. It will load the main page and then click on the context menu. So this is how we can make use of different keywords while with wildcards in the XPath to locate the different elements, web elements on the web page. So we talked about like using simple XPath, then we went ahead and checked out with XPath, and then or we can also make use of XPath starts with, then using text we can locate elements on the web page. So there are multiple variations that are available and different strategies that can be used with the XPath to locate the different web elements available. This brings us to the end of using XPath strategy. The next is CSS Selector Locator strategy. CSS, that stands for Cascading Style Sheets, is used to style web pages. It is used to create style rules in the web page and is leveraged to locate the desired web element. At the same time, CSS is also one of the widely used ways to locate web elements in the DOM. The CSS selector in Selenium should be chosen if you cannot locate an element using ID or name locators. It can be chosen over the XPath locators as well. And there are different ways to locate web elements using CSS selectors. We will study most of them. I'll try to cover most of the CSS selectors strategies that can be used to locate a web element. Starting with, we'll first locate the web element using tag and ID in the CSS selector. Tag and ID are different attributes we learned in the earlier section of this video, but we can locate the web elements using tag name, ID, name attribute, and so on. So using a combination of tag name and ID, we can locate a web element using its CSS selector. Now, how we can do that? Let me first take you to the same page that we were locating the web element. Let's open the form authentication page. Eventually, it will load to the login page. So there are two things that we need to study here. We'll be locating the username field using input, the tag name and the uh, ID, basically. So HTML tag, it provides the tag we wish to locate. So ideally this input is a HTML tag and that can be used to locate the element. Similarly, hash, this sign is used to represent the ID attribute. And remember that when you wish to locate a web element via ID through a CSS selector, it must have a hash sign on the same. So ideally we can use the hash sign to locate the elements with the ID attribute. But for other attributes, we need not use the hash sign. The value of the ID attribute is actually the name here. Like for example, this ID equal to username. So username is the value, ID is the attribute here. So to locate this uh, web element for username field, we can make use of uh, tag and ID. That is, input is the tag name, ID is the user ID attribute. We have the value as username. So we can put hash for ID and then type in the value username. So this way you can locate the web element using HTML tag and ID. Similarly, if you want to locate the password field, just need to change the attribute value, ID attribute value here. So input tag is already there, and then I just need to change this to password, and you can see that it will locate the password field. Similarly, if you don't want to use the tag, you can directly pass on the hashtag. So this hash actually stands for ID, and it will locate the same field called password here. Similarly, if you want to locate the username field, you can just use the hash sign and typing the value that stands for the ID attribute. So it will eventually locate the web element that you are looking out for. Similarly, let's check out for some other fields in the same page. Like for example, let's check out the forgot password menu. And in this video, we have the email field. Now again, you can just use this hash email here and it will locate the uh, email field with the CSS selector. So this CSS selector hash in email can be used to locate the email field. Similarly, I can also make use of input tag and the ID attribute. So input hash email, using this particular CSS selector, I can locate the email field as well. But for this demonstration, let's go back to the form authentication field and we will be locating the uh, username field using the tag input and the ID attribute value that is username. So let's quickly run this test. You can see the test script here. Like the first link will open the login page. The first line of code will open the login page, and then the web element username field will ideally locate the username field using CSS selector. So by dot CSS selector can be used to locate the input field, and the CSS selector is ideally input hash username. And finally, we'll be sending out some values faisal@demo.com. these values will be sent in the username field. We'll wait for 2 seconds just to verify that whatever values that we have supplied in the field is being typed correctly. And then finally the test will exit. So let me quickly run this test and check out the results. As you can see, the test is running, the login page is open, and we can see the value Faisal at the rate demo.com, which is been supplied through this send keys method, is been typed in the field correctly. So this is how you can make use of tag and ID in CSS selector. The next combination that we have is tag and the class name. So ideally, we can also make use of class name and the tag, input tag, or maybe whatever tag name that is available for that respective web element field. We can make use of those element, and uh, a combination of tag and class name can be used in the CSS selector to locate the web element. So this time, let's locate the login button. And as you can see, the tag is button and the class name is radius. So let me just type in the tag name button. For class, ideally the shorthand is dot. So dot refers to the class name, and then we can type in the name of the class. So button dot radius will eventually, the combination of tag name and class name will locate the login button. So let's quickly just check this out in the code as well. You can see we are we will be loading the login page, and then using the CSS selector button dot radius, we will click on the login button and then wait for 2 seconds just to see that the login button has been clicked successfully. So let me run this test. And you can see the login button was clicked, and you can see the message, your username is invalid because no username and password was supplied. Hence that message was displayed. That means the login button was clicked successfully using the CSS selector button dot radius. The other combination that can be used in CSS selector is of tag and attribute. So the tag and attribute can also be used to locate web elements. And let's quickly jump on to the other website, that is the Juice Shop website, which is a kind of a demo website. It has some security vulnerabilities, can help you in selecting and learning security testing as well. But ideally, we'll be using this for web automation because it's a good website and it uses some material uh, framework in the front end to for the material framework for the HTML part, and which is some of the complex things because it's very difficult to locate the web elements when you are using the material framework. It does not have, sometimes there are dynamic locators which changes on every time page refresh. There are some uh, IDs and names are also sometimes not available. So you have to make use of some complex selectors, and you need to have selectors such as XPath or CSS selectors ideally be used for locating the web elements in this kind of websites. So in this particular website, let me open it in the incognito mode, because when you open it in the incognito mode, you will see some different pop-ups coming up when the website loads. So you can see this welcome pop-up as well as this cookie pop-up coming up if you want to you want it or you want to dismiss it and so on. So we'll make use of CSS selector with its tag and the attribute to locate the me wanted button. So I want to locate this button, and let's check out the locator that are available to locate this. So you can see there are no name or ID attributes available. We have a class attribute, we have area label attribute, we have role and tab index and so on, but there are no uh, ID or as such name simple locators available which can be used to directly locate the elements. So let's locate it using the tag and the ID attribute. So I'll just show you how we can do that. We can see the tag name as A here, and then we can make use of this attribute role as well as area label to locate this element. So how do I type in the CSS selector? So first we need to type in the tag name A, and then we'll type the role equal to button because it's a button, and then we'll use the another attribute, that is the area label, area hyphen label equal to, and we can see the area label, the value for that is dismiss cookie message. So let's copy it from here Oh, there's a mistake here. Ah. So you can see using the tag name a role attribute with the value button and area label, that is dismiss cookie message, we can locate the button easily over here. And this, you can use the same locator that you have used in the developer tools to identify the web elements in the test scripts, to interact with those respective web elements. So let's move on to the code now, and you can see I have put the same link for the Jewish shop website in driver.get statement. And then for locating the me wanted button, I have just supplied driver.find element by CSS selector, and I'll just supplied the same locator CSS with tag name and the different attributes. So first attribute is the role that has the value button. The other attribute is area level that has the value dismiss cookie message. And finally, it will click on it and then wait for 2 seconds just to verify that we clicked on the button and it went successfully. So let me run the test now. And you can see the website loaded successfully. And as the me wanted button has been clicked successfully, so you can see that the pop-up did not appear because it was clicked successfully. And this is how you can make a combination of tag and attribute values and in the CSS selector and use it in your test to locate the elements. This also helps in making the test less flaky because the locators eventually locate the web elements successfully and you have less flaky test. And we can also make use of three different combination called with respect to like tag and attribute. We can also add the class name in the CSS selector to locate the web element. And let's locate this dismiss button now, which we were viewing earlier. So for locating this dismiss button, let's check out the what all elements it has in the DOM. We can see it has a button tag, and the class name ideally is this mat hyphen focus hyphen indicator close hyphen dialog. So ideally you can make use so full of this like mat hyphen focus hyphen indicator, then close dialog, mat raised button, mat button base. And so this full value is the name of the class, and you can use any, you can pick any one of it and then use it in as a class name. And we'll make use of this area label as well, the other attribute. So the tag name is button, area label is close welcome banner, and then finally the class name, that is close hyphen dialog. So let's create another CSS selector for locating this button. So the tag name is button, the class name is close hyphen dialog, and you can see it located that button. But for to make sure that we locate the web element with less flakiness, let's also provide the area hyphen label attribute is equal to close welcome banner. This makes sure that you locate the exact element that you want to, and this will click on the dismiss button when the test gets started. And ideally you can locate the dismiss button and click on it. So let's move on to the code, and you can see I've just updated the dismiss button value here. Web element dismiss button will be located using CSS selector button dot close area label. And there are two ways to write this value inside. Like you can also use this backslash double quotes and then close it. Otherwise, you can also make use of this kind of single quote in the CSS selector. Both of these works ideally. And then finally, we'll click on dismiss button. So let's run the test and check out how it appears. You can see dismiss button was located and it was clicked using the CSS selector with which has the combination of tag, class name, and attribute. Now there are also some wildcard selectors in CSS selector. The characters such as this caret, this value, and also dollar sign and the asterisk sign. These three characters can be used as wildcards selectors in the CSS selectors. We'll check it out how we can use it in the code. But to iterate and tell you in a simple term, this caret actually is refers to starts with the dollar sign, ideally refers to ends with the dollar sign, ideally refers to ends with, and then the asterisk sign refers to contains. So these are three different CSS wildcards in CSS selectors that can also be used to locate the web elements efficiently. If you want, you can use them in your test, but you make sure that it locates the element exactly. In case of like the web elements which are dynamic in nature, make sure that you use the correct attribute, tag name, class name, etc. to locate the web elements, so you don't have any flakiness in the test. So let's get into the example first, and we will be locating the. Let's move on to the Selenium Playground website on Lambda test, that is provided by Lambda test. And let's move on to the input form demo page, input form submit here. And let's locate the field, first field, that is the name field here. Now, as you can see, it has an input tag. The type attribute is text. Class name we have, it's a lengthy name. Then we have ID and name as well. Placeholder as placeholder attribute is also provided as name here. So let's locate it. So ideally we can locate it directly using the ID, but since this demo is related to the CSS selectors, I'll be using CSS selector with wildcard starts with, that is using the caret sign. So first it would be an input tag, and then ID starts with NA or NAM, whatever the case may be. So this way you can see, you can locate the name field with CSS selector that starts with NA. Similarly, to locate another field that ends with some value, we can make use of dollar sign. So let's take an example of this company field here. You can see that the name ends with PANY, ID also ends with PANY. So let's now take the name attribute that ends with, oh, sorry, PANY. So ideally it will locate the company field. Similarly, you can also supply the ID attribute because name and ID values both are same. So initially there won't be any difference here. But since we located the starts with ID, I'll use the ends with an example having that name ends with PANY. And finally, we can also make use of the contains, that is a asterisk. So for that, let's locate the email field. Uh, it has an input email 4 as an ID and name as email. So input email 4 instead of that, and you can see it also has the input tag. The ID is input email 4. So instead of using the full ID value, I'll just supply the value that contains email. And you can see it located the element successfully. You can also make use of this name fee attribute as well. It will also locate the email field because it will just check out if the text, if the name contains where words mail, or the ID, whatever attribute that you supply here contains this word. And if that contains, then that condition is met, and ideally it will locate that field successfully. Now let's run the demo and check out if these fields work perfectly. Web element locator strategies work perfectly fine with the starts with, ends with, and contains. So ideally we will be locating the uh, okay, I will. Let's check out the password field as well. Since it's just next to the name field, we can also locate that field. Uh, and you can see name equal to password, or pass. So you can supply this value as contains. So ideally, if the first field, name field, will be located using starts with NA, the company field will be located that ends with PANY, and then we'll locate the password field that has a name that contains PASS word. And eventually the name field will be, in the name field, will be typing in the value Faisal. In the company field, we'll type in the value freelance. And in the password field, we'll type in the value pass at 123. I feel like in password key field, since it's a masked field, you won't be able to see the value PASS at 123. You'll see some kind of dots in coming up there. So let's run this test, and you can see it located the well field. I'll just run it again just to check out all the fields values were correctly supplied. Freelance, Faisal, and then the password. So this starts with, ends with, and contains works perfectly fine with CSS selectors as well. So there are multiple flavors that you can be used with CSS selectors to efficiently locate the web fields. And the only thing is you need to have a correct knowledge of how to use the respective attributes, the tag names, the class names, or whatever ID name, etc. that you have. And it can, CSS selectors can be leveraged to locate the web elements successfully. The next thing is working with the child elements. So there's another way to locate web elements using child elements in the CSS selector. For locating the child elements, it comes handy when you're working with the tables ideally. So let me open the page here that will help you out. So there is a page called sorted table data that is here on the main page. Let's click on it, and you can see there are multiple set of data available in different tables. In example 1, there are 4 rows. In example 2, there are 4 rows. So in the first table, there is no class or ID attributes to signify groupings of row and columns. And in the example 2, it has class and ID attributes to signify groupings and of rows and columns. So we will eventually work with table 1 to locate the different rows and values in the different columns by using CSS selector. So eventually, we will also take these respective CSS selectors in the test and run it in the test scripts as well. So to start with, we will be locating the child locators, using the child locators to locate the web elements. And ideally, if you check out here, the first case that we'll be using here will be using the nth child wildcard that helps to locate the child elements of a respective table. Or it can be used with anything that has a group of data available in the list. So let's locate this value here. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. And if you check out the DOM, the table ID is table 1. Then you have T head, T body. Inside T body, you have TR that has different rows of data. And then inside TR, you would have TD, that is table data, which is respective shows the respective data in the different columns that are available. So eventually, we will be locating the different data that are available using nth child. So first, hash table 1 because it has an ID. ID refers to, while using CSS, we can use the hash icon or hash character to locate the ID, to locate the value with ID attribute. And then we want to directly move on to the T body. So we locate this arrow or greater than sign and then call the T body. It will directly take you to the subsequent tag. Inside table 1, inside table that has an ID table 1, we are locating the T body. And inside T body, since it's a adjacent element, after T body, directly the TR appears. So we can just pass on a space and write TR. And then in TR, we can just make use of nth child and play around. Like if you want to locate the first row, you can type in the value 1, or second row, for second row, you can type 2, 3, 4, and whatever you will not find anything if you type in 5 because there are just 4 rows available here. And this is how you can use nth child in with CSS selector to locate your web element. So eventually it will just locate the different type of different set of data in the third row. Eventually it will select, ideally it will select all the data that is available on row number 3. If you directly want to like locate the first and the last child, that also is an additional benefit or additional advantage that is provided by CSS Selector. By directly typing in the tag name, there are four, 1, 2, 3, 4 different values for rows. There are 4 rows available. So if you just want to locate the first child, just type in first hyphen child. It will directly locate the first child. Similarly, to locate the last child, you can just type in the value last hyphen child. It will locate the last child. Let's now move on to the code and check out how these things work. So in the uh, first demo, we will find out the row number 2 and print its value. In the second example of CSS selector, we'll locate the first child and finally the last child, and then print those values in the console. Let me run the test now. So you can see the first one located the row number 2. So the row number 2 has values with last name Batch, Frank, first name, and then fbash at yahoo.com, $51 due, and so on. So you can see the same values coming up in the console as well. The first child locates the first row with last name Smith and first name John, and ideally you can see those values coming up here. And finally, the last name Conway with first name Tim, and this name appears in this value here. Now, there's one more way, like these were all related to the records, directly printing in the different table records, full row. But if what if I want to just print a single value, like for example, in row number 2, I want to print the email fbach at yahoo.com. Okay. Now in that case, what I'll do is first name row 2 equal to driver dot find element by dot CSS selector. We'll just make use of nth child to td nth child 2. This is how you can leverage the nth child again. So if you want to locate the second value, you can use td. Now you can see after tr, when it get expanded, you will see the td coming up directly there. So you can just pass on a space, put in the value td, and then the nth child 2 will eventually locate the name for the second row, second column, Frank. So let's pass on this value in the CSS selector now and see the value coming up there. And you'll see while checking out the value, I'm just passing on the method getText, which is a part of Selenium, which will eventually get the text of the web element that we are trying to locate. Let me run the test again. And you can see Frank is printed here. Similarly, you can also type in the value. Let's try with first child. And you can see the value last name coming up directly selected here, as this is the first child. And what if I type in the value last child? So you can see the action column, which has edit and delete links, will be eventually printed if I try to use the first and the last child here. So this is how you can play with CSS selectors for locating different web elements. Coming to the next section now, and eventually it's the last part in the section, it's related to the relative locators in Selenium. And this I have had mentioned the title as relative locators in Selenium 4 because these relative locators were introduced in the Selenium version 4. That is how it got the name relative locators in Selenium 4. One of the major features of Selenium 4 is the introduction of relative locators. And relative locators in Selenium 4 helps us to search for the web elements in relation to the other elements. So there are 4 different variants with reference to, not 4, ideally there are 5, and it refers to above, below, to left of, to right of, and near. So above some certain web element, below certain web element, to the left of certain web element, to the right of certain web element, near certain web elements, near sometimes near uh, if I am correct, it refers to within 50 pixels of the respective web element which on near which you are finding the other element. Above refers to web element is above the specified element. Below refers to web element is below the specified element. To the left of refers to the web element that is to the left of that specified web element. To the right of is referring to the right of an element, and near is within 50 pixels of an web element. To come out on the demo, let me open another website. Ideally, this is a e-commerce website, and it's a demo website basically. uh, I have chosen this website because it will eventually help you up in selecting the different relative locators. So if I'm selecting this Montana wind jacket, then below that Taurus element shell can be located. To the left, we can Proteus fitness jack shirt can be located. Jupiter all weather trainer shirt can be located on the right, and near refers to this something value. Like in the Montana wind jacket, if I want to locate the price, I can use the near locator and locate the value for $49.00. Let's check out how does this things work. Before we move on and use these relative locators, we'll ideally have to locate one specific locator that will be a target locator, and with reference to that locators, to left of, to right of, near, above, below, and other locators can be located. So let me open the developer tools, and we will just locate this Montana wind jacket first. So this is the name, and you can see we have a tag name, then the product name, class name, or sorry, class equal to product item hyphen link. And you can see there are 11 different selectors, that 11 different items that are available with the help of this selector that can be located. So all the names of the different shirts can be located using this locator, but ideally I want to locate this Montana wind jacket only. So what I can do is I can make use of nth child and then pass on the value 2. Oh, I cannot use nth child here because this a tag has only a single variable here, single tag here. There are no multiple tags available. Element with a tag and the same class name appears for different components on the web page. So ideally, what I can do is I'll just check out for the parent element here. So the other way around here is we can just copy the selector by right clicking, copy and selector. So, and paste it here. Now you'll see it will paste a very lengthy selector for you, but eventually we can make use of it and then shorten it up. So I'll just remove these values. So this is the first element that is been located. So what ideally I can remove some of the so this will eventually locate all the web elements. And if I put in the value nth child 2, this gives me the value Montana wind jacket. And if I try and remove these things as well? So this does not work. Okay, but this works. So I can just this way I can shorten up my CSS selector. And if you can see, if I remove this nth child, it will eventually locate all of the names of the products that are available on the web page. But I want the to locate specifically the Montana wind jacket. So what I'll do is I'll just copy this selector, and let me keep this as it is and create a new Montana jacket equal to driver dot find element by dot CSS selector and the selector that we want. Now We have located a specific element. Now let's locate the below part. Web element below Montana jacket equal to driver dot find element. Now there's a difference here in writing the relative locator. You will have to type in the word with first and then by dot CSS selector. And what I can do here is I just don't know which value lies beneath. So I should not use the nth child here and just directly pass on. Oh, sorry, the selector here. I've removed the nth child here because I don't want the specific uh, locator to be locating the respective element or the component on the web page. I'm not sure which value appears below Montana jacket, because if I supply nth child value here, it will locate the specific second element on the web page, which is Montana jacket only. So I won't be getting the expected result. So I'll remove the nth child and give it a list here. So you can see if I supply this value here, it will eventually make it will eventually go through all of the elements available in the list, and eventually whatever appears below this Montana wind jacket, so this appears Taurus element shell, this appears below this, and eventually it will locate that respective locator and give me the required output. Now let me run this assert equals, because I know that below this Montana jacket, Taurus element shell should appear. Now, let me quickly run this test. Oops, sorry. And check out how the things appear here. Okay, that was a mistake. I actually forgot to mention that I want to locate a web element that is below Montana jacket. And I need to give below, sorry, before this, I need to give below Montana jacket. So what it will do, it will locate the web element using this CSS selector below Montana jacket, which ideally should be Taurus element shell. Let me run the test again. So everything has been reverted again. I'm first locating the Montana jacket using the CSS selector, and then using the CSS selector, I want to locate a web element that is below Montana jacket, and which I know is Taurus element shell that should appear. So let me run this test and see how it locates the web elements below the Montana jacket. And see, the assert equal statement ran successfully, which means it located the text Taurus element shell correctly that is below the Montana jacket. Now let me check another one to the left of. Now you can see to the left of Montana wind jacket text, there is another shirt that is Proteus fitness jack shirt. Let's locate this now. So it will be, everything eventually will be the same. So only the name of that variable will change, which is to left of. And here, instead of below, it will be to left of Montana jacket. Everything will be the same because we are working on the same list of values. We are not changing any, we are not moving to any other screen, or we are not moving to any other component. So eventually will be everything related to this locator will remain the same. The only thing is the to the left of, when we are talking about the left of, we'll just change the assertion values as well. So let me change this to left of, and let's run the test again. So just reiterating, the assertion will run and check to the left of Montana jacket, Proteus fitness jacket shirt value is being displayed. Now let's run it and see The second selector to left of also passed. Now the third one to the right of. I'll just copy the same value, same selectors, just change it to right of. Here also the locator will be changed. The method will be to right of. And finally, I'll just copy the CSS selector, sorry, the assertion statement that we'd eventually check out for the right of. And to the right of this Montana wind jacket text, we have another component that shows text with Jupyter all-weather trainer. And that is what is been put here. So let's run the test again and check out the results. And you can see the test pass, which means the assertions worked and the the element was located successfully. Now, I'll just quickly comment out everything that is being displayed here, and we'll uncomment all the code that had written previously. Here, to give this value, again, I will have to like check out for the Canopy jacket. Now, Canopy jacket, I'm locating this Canopy jacket just because I want to check out an element that is above something. And this is the first row. So Montana wind jacket does not have anything above it. So I'll be checking out for another element that is Canopy jacket, and we'll locate it using this CSS selector. Here it is Canopy trail jacket. Above it, there's another jacket called Mars Heat Tech Pullover. And we'll check if this jacket that is above Canopy jacket is been getting located successfully or not. So I'll just comment out other tests and we'll run only one test, comment out other code, and we'll just locate one jacket that is Canopy jacket that is above. We will first locate the specific element that is Canopy jacket, and after that we'll locate an element that is Mars Heat Tech Pullover that is above the Canopy jacket. Now let's run the test and check out the results. And the results, the test ran successfully, and you can see the result. There are no errors, which means this worked perfectly fine. Now coming to the last section here, this is near. Like I said, web element which is within 50 pixels of an element. So for near, we need to make sure that whatever specific element you have, like Montana jacket, that is the specific element that you want to locate. After that, you want to locate another web element which is near the Montana jacket, but you should make sure that the respective element that you are searching for should be within 50 pixels of that respective element. So this $49 should be within the 50 pixels of the Montana wind jacket. Hence, I have chosen this $49 here. So let's run this test again and see how the near relative locator near works. And this with this, we can check out that the near code also worked perfectly fine, and we were able to locate the $49 text that is near to Montana wind jacket text. And this brings us to the end of this session related to the different types of locators in Selenium WebDriver. I hope you got a better understanding about all the different types of locator with examples, and you got a better understanding of how to use those locators in the test. Again, to reiterate, there are 8 different types of locators in Selenium. That is ID, name, tag name, class name, CSS selector, XPath, LinkText, and partial LinkText. And all of these selectors can be used effectively in your test scripts working with Selenium with WebDriver with Java. You need to make sure that you select the correct locators so you don't have flaky test. Everything depends upon the selector strategy that is being used. If you do not use the selector strategies correctly, you might end up creating flaky test, which will eventually eat up lots of your time while running the automation test. So make sure that you choose the correct locator strategy and make your test less flaky and run on robust automation around your product to get the quality output and deliver it to the end users. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you'll subscribe, like, and share this video with your friends soon. Thank you so much.